This was the last leg of 180 kilometers from Bangalore into the Chamrajnagar district of South Karnataka. And finally, it came into vision. The white rock face of Bilagiri Ranga Betta, or BR Hills, on the easternmost edge of the Western Ghats. Life here was contagiously peaceful. And I almost bypassed my hosts at BR Hills. Vivekanand Girijana Kalyana Kendra, VGKK, a tribal welfare organization. I had arrived. Yet it seemed that the journey was still to begin. As I walked up the path, I could imagine the footsteps of the doctor who had treaded up the same terrain innumerable times 25 years ago. Perhaps he would have been enticed as well by the energy of such small boys. The tree for them was a playground, a friend, a source of happiness and energy. Yet there was a difference. Then they had run away. But now they welcomed me to their land, the land of the Soligas, the indigenous tribals of BR Hills. These Soliga children were counting aloud in their dialect, Soliganudi. This perhaps was the same hut where the doctor had enlightened the spirit of education in the Soligas.
There was no medical facility here. When I visited the Podus in the interior Podus, they would all disappear, hide themselves in their houses or in the forest. So I had to establish rapport with them. One or two cases where I really helped them in the medical emergencies, like the snake bite case. I made an incision, used my mouth to suck the poison out, and then with the anti-snake venom serum I could cure them. Similarly, mauling by bears was quite common. I sutured a face which was mauled by the bears, and that helped me to establish the rapport. Once I established the rapport, they started coming to my clinic, which I had built here. The front portion was a clinic behind I used to live. And I had to build this hut on the top of a rock because the elephants used to come and drink water in the tank in front of my hut, and they used to stroll during the night by the side of my hut. Once an elephant had put its trunk inside my hut. Those were scary days. Later on, I found in the evenings the children roaming around, not going to school. So I thought, let me teach them in the evening, and built another hut with 7 children. Amongst those 7 children, today 4 have become postgraduate, and one of them is doing PhD in agriculture.
Dr. Hanumappa Sudarshan and Soligas were the source of my attraction to BR Hills and VGKK. Nestled within the deep forests of BR Hills, VGKK was established in 1981 by Dr. Sudarshan with a motive.
When I came here to BR Hills in 1979 December, there were a lot of problems with the tribals. They were doing shifting cultivation, hunting and food gathering. The forest regulations had stopped the shifting cultivation and hunting. They were left with only collection of minor forest produce. Even that they had problems. So I started initially with the curative health services. Then I found that there are a lot of community health problems. Then it became community health, community development. I found they had to do problems with the land. So social development also became important. And now we speak of sustainable development. So it was a gradual evolution from curative health to community development, and now finally to sustainable development.
In the campus, I found the motive come alive. There were Soliga women busy processing honey for sale in the urban outlets that could give them proceeds for economic self-sufficiency. Approximately 30 tons of honey is collected, processed and packed by the Soligas in the VGKK units, and profits from the sale are distributed amongst them. Likewise, various other non-timber forest products like gooseberries are dried and packed for retail sale. In fact, some of them are also processed into squashes, jams and pickles to get an interesting blend of herbal values and modern tastes. This herbal garden housed some of the many herbs being used by the Soligas traditionally as medicines for their ailments.
We have now found out about 25 herbs which they have been using traditionally, which can take care of about 40 to 50% of the primary healthcare problems. These are some of the herbs which we use. For example, Adatoda vasaka is a very good herbal remedy. It can take care of all the coughs and colds and even bronchial asthma. So that type of remedies we are promoting.
To further appreciate the tribal skill, various cottage industry units operated in the campus. Weaving, bookbinding, candle making, screen printing and bamboo crafts.
The income generation for tribals should be based on their natural resources and traditional skills they have. So one of our aim in VGKK is to identify the traditional skills they have and promote the skills, upgrade the skills. Bamboo craft is one of their traditional skills they had, and now we are upgrading their skills in the bamboo craft so that they can also address not only their livelihood needs of bamboo crafts but also for the markets outside, so that they can get better income generation.
This retail outlet in the campus itself was an illustration of Soliga economic independence.
The goal of VGKK is to make the Soligas self-reliant. The Soliga Abhiruddhi Sanghas, the community organization formed, they are enabling the people to collect minor forest produce. The processing is done in the campus, which is for the value addition, and the marketing is also done by the Soligas themselves, both here in this retail shop and also in Mysore and Bangalore. All the profits which come out of this goes back to the tribals for their health, education and other developmental works. So the final goal of VGKK is to make the Soligas self-reliant.
Moving on from economics to education, I now was in the VGKK school. Unfortunately, during my visit, the school was off for vacations. Yet, I could feel the spirit of the place come alive. I entered this large assembly hall, naturally lit and spacious enough to accommodate a parade. Suddenly, I felt the space resonate with a prayer.
This is song sung by the morning children every day, morning 7 o'clock. So this song will explaining the God of Jadesami, like a Gorukana. This song explain the flora, fauna of the biodiversity of this forest area. So people are more attracted to the biodiversity. Every day they involved with this forest. And also this education institution providing this traditional, continuing the traditional songs and prayers in the school.
Filled with respect for tribal knowledge, I walked around the empty corridors. I could almost feel the energy of the place encompass my imaginations. The empty classrooms seemed to be striking a lesson of modern science in the tribal minds of these young Soligas.
Efforts are made by Vivekananda Girijana Kalana Kendra staff and some educationists to convert Kannada textbooks into Soliga Nudi, which is a dialect. Basically, our Soliga tribal people are nature lovers. They worship the sun, the Mother Earth. Sun is the main source of energy, and their beliefs and their traditional myths are not wasted. That can be explained and scientifically inculcated by explaining the process of photosynthesis, so that the diversity and the integrity of the tribal will be maintained.
And this large sprawling playground came alive with sporty excitement and enthusiasm of these natural athletes.
VGKK school introduced the sports and new games like cricket, volleyball, football and etc. So that they are participating in the taluk level, district and state level competition. They own the competition also, and also they are encourage them to participate, compete with the mainstream and survive for it. The skill they are it's very useful for the children also.
I could now clearly understand the foresight that had turned a small hut with 7 Soliga children into a big school for 460 Soliga students. And finally, I visited the most vital section of the campus, the VGKK hospital. This is a base medical unit for the Soligas, living amidst nature's uncertainties and wildlife encounters. Well equipped with 10 beds and an outpatient clinic, the hospital treated almost 13,000 outpatients and 200 inpatients annually. To add to the medical facility for the tribals are the mobile medical vans. These make weekly visits to all the tribal villages called podus, making medical treatment accessible to the Soligas in remote forest areas. Yet, the importance of this mobile medical van came alive when the routine weekly visit was cut short due to an urgent call at the Bedaguli Podo. Madamma had just delivered her 3rd child 3 days back and had been suddenly taken to be seriously suffering from eclampsia, post-delivery convulsions. For immediate relief, she had to be carried to the VGKK hospital 30 kilometers away. As the ambulance drove down the rocky terrain, bunging through potholes, I dreaded to think of the aftermaths for Madamma in the absence of a medical center. At least now there was still some hope. VGKK has contributed in a big way for the survival of a tribe. Honored with the Padma Shri and various other awards, for Dr. Sudarshan, the biggest award is the happiness of the Soligas.
Before Dr. Sudarshan came, we used to live in forest and ate raw forest products. He stayed with us and learned about all hardship. He also forwarded them to the government. He educated us on our rights as a tribe.
I could feel the dawn of a new understanding. The beautiful green stretch of BR Hills was the very own kingdom of nature, where diversities existed for heritage to exist and mankind to survive. Below a huge bamboo tree, I noticed a group of Soliga children enjoying themselves. Blindfolded, they would run under the shelter of the tree as if it was their protector. Some instinct made me relate them to the bamboo tree.
Soligas mean those born from the bamboo. Two baby boys, Karya and Birlya, were found in the bamboo bark. From them, the Soligas came into existence and the tribe increased.
Indeed, Soligas literally meant those born out of the bamboo. Thus, the bamboo children. Reaching a remote Podu Keradimba, I observed that in lifestyle, Soligas are in many ways primitive. Living amidst nature in small mud and thatch huts, they are inherently shy, simple, and still untouched by pride and prejudice. Dogs, hens, and cattle are their source of protection and subsistence. Sun to the Soligas is a source of life. So Surya Namaskar is a tradition followed to pay allegiance to the sun. I noticed a woman carrying food. Food sharing, a traditional practice of the Soligas that exhibit their inherent love for community living. I moved on a warm welcome into this traditional school for joyful learning. This seemed to be an interesting way of educating the primary kids amidst their own environment. Watching these boys climb the trees with such ease, it was easy to conclude that forests are the first schools for the Soligas. Living with nature is a value that the Soligas worship. This tree, that to me was just a magnificent form of stability and time, actually turned out to be a deity tree of the Soligas, Toda Sampige. Almost 2,500 years old, it is said that the tree got its sanctity after Lord Parasurama did his penance under it. Today, it is surrounded with innumerable stones that are worshipped here as Lord Shiva, the Soliga deity. I was lucky to witness a ceremony organized especially by a tribal woman. As a tradition, the Soligas still come to the priest for giving them vibhuti from the god's temple as a cure for their illnesses and misfortunes. I moved into deeper forest. It was overwhelming to be amidst nature, surrounded by tall trees with swinging branches that seemed to be unending. Yet, something that was really adventurous was a walk through the wild deciduous forest. I saw two Soligas atop a tree. They had spotted a beehive inside a tree hole. After taking out enough for their subsistence, they placed back the comb for more cultivation. Once down, they enjoyed a part of their treasure and packed the rest for those back home. Soliga's respect for nature came across when an infected tree was spotted by one of them. The trees are a symbol of life, so they do not believe in cutting them. But in such a case, where the cutting is inevitable, a Soliga always first places a stone in front of the tree and prays for forgiveness. Then, a small tree is planted next to it before cutting down. Soligas truly are the bamboo children, for the bamboo represents the forest to which they belong. To discover new facets of Soliga life, I walked into another podu, Yerukan Gadde. Here I met Chale Sidamma. At first sight, I refused to believe that she is 70 years of age. She had an amazing zeal and confidence of a forest bred as she guided me to a tree, the bark of which she would scrap to make a herbal medicine. Called the Athimara, the bark is crushed, blended with water, and given to women who have not been able to conceive. Chale Sidamma claimed to have given 100% results with this medicine. She proudly displayed all the awards, seconding her claim to success. A midwife, Chale Sidamma was given proper training by Dr. Sudarshan.
First, we were in forests and we did not know how to deliver the children hygienically. After Dr. Sudarshan came, he sent me to Bangalore and Mysore for professional training as a midwife. Now we deliver Soliga babies in a healthy manner.
She claimed to have done 3,800 deliveries amongst the Soligas in the past 25 years with 100% success. She now is passing on her knowledge to her eldest daughter so that the tradition is continued in her family. Such diverse knowledge indeed needs to be preserved. In Kalyani Podu, I was almost welcomed by these women, busy in their routine. Churning ragi for evening dinner, some of them sat drying corn, while a few sang a tribal song. In the field, I noticed intercrop farming. Various crops like corns, ragi, barley are grown together using only biomass. I sensed freedom and unity. The Soligas are also diverse in their culture. Here in Matkangadde Podu, I witnessed a tribal festival, Roti Habba. The sight and the numbers were amazing as Soligas from remote Podus came for the food sharing that happens during the festival. The festival represents the first harvest of ragi that is baked into rotis and offered to Jade Swami. As all savored the food, I caught sight of the stranger amongst the lot, who seemed to be enjoying it with same delight.
We are here, the tribes, Soligas. The food, ragi, roti, made inside this leaf, put into fire and major festivity. Ladies are wearing some amazing colors. They're wearing some amazing cosmetics and flowers and whatnot. It's amazing. You have to be here to believe it, to sense it, to feel it.
As evening flowed into night, the festive mood gained height. From 15,000 falling numbers in 1979, there are now 31,000 increasing numbers of Soligas. As I left BR Hills, I knew that diversities are important for the self to contain and the spirit to live. My journey had come to an end, yet I felt there is still a long way for us to go.